I did a video few weeks ago about towns and landmarks in Ekpe, and a lot of you guys appreciated that video. So I'm going to be doing a sequel to that video and be talking about towns and landmarks, 5 towns and landmarks in Ibeju Lekki for people that want to invest. I know some people have already invested in Ibeju Lekki, some people are about to invest in Ibeju Lekki, and they have some certain locations or some certain landmarks they want to invest in Ibeju Lekki around. So I'll be sharing some tips and guide in this video for you to understand the different towns in Ibeju Lekki and different landmarks that are in those particular towns, so that if you are investing around a particular landmark, you can set an objective that match that particular landmark that is in that location. So in case I'm not coming across a video like this for the first time, this Meet the Property channel, and this will discuss everything real estate for avid investors, first time investors, and even beginners who are just still trying to start their real estate investment. We share tips, guides, and advice on land titles, different real estate investment channels, short leads, buy and flip, land banking, real estate trust fund. We share as much as we can to educate you and guide you on whichever route that you want to invest in real estate. So after watching this particular educative guide, I also advise you go to our different videos, our different playlists. We have a playlist on Ibeju Lekki, we have a playlist on Ekpe, we have a playlist on short leads, we have a playlist on Lekki, we have a playlist on Lagos mainland, we have a playlist on Ibadan, on different just real estate companies. We have a playlist on real estate companies also, and we have different videos that we have done, different topics that we have done under each of these playlists. So let's go into the topic 5 towns in Ibeju Lekki for you to invest and the landmarks around each of these towns. So the first town that we'll be discussing in this video is Eleko. Now Eleko is very popular. Eleko came into the limelight around like 3 years ago when Red Bricks successfully delivered the Imen Estate Phase 1. Now they have gone on to even do bigger and better by also delivering the Imen Estate Phase 2 also in Eleko, and that boomed the real estate sector and real estate markets in Eleko, Ibeju Lekki. Now Eleko is a fantastic location in Ibeju Lekki for anyone that is looking to invest for a place that is not really too far inside in Ibeju Lekki. Also, the major landmark for Eleko is definitely the Imen Estate Phase 1 and Phase 2. And from a couple of my conversations, a lot of investors have been concerned and been wary about the Dangote Refinery. So there are people that really don't want to invest in Ibeju Lekki, but don't really want to invest in a place that is so much close to the refinery because of the health hazard and environmental hazard of having a refinery in a populated area. So Eleko is much further from the refinery as much as you want to, and you can still tap into the presence of the refinery by investing in Eleko, because most of the people that are going to be renting your property will definitely still be working around the Free Trade Zone and around the Dangote Refinery. So if you want to invest in Ibeju Lekki and not to be as far as you can from the refinery, Eleko is fantastic. Now another reason why Eleko is also very ideal is because Eleko sits right at the junction connecting Aja, Ekpe, and also Ibeju Lekki. So if you are coming from Ibrahim Adeson, you are coming from Sangotedo, you are coming from Awoyaya, you are definitely going to get to Eleko junction before you continue going to Ekpe or you continue going to Ibeju Lekki around the refinery side. So the presence of Eleko as an interchange makes that location very fantastic. And the moment Ekpe boom because of the airport, the moment Ibeju Lekki boom because of the seaport, Eleko will even boom more because Eleko is the interchange that connects both the airport and the seaport. So if you want to position, you don't want to really invest in one side and miss out from the other side. investing in Eleko is also fantastic for that. Now, the second town that we'll be talking about in Ibeju Lekki is Eleko. Eleko is also a very, very popular town in Ibeju Lekki for a couple of investors that have been investing in Ibeju Lekki for a while, or that have been going through different real estate adverts in Ibeju Lekki. Then you have seen different properties around the Eleko axis. Now, most parts of properties, or most part of Eleko have an excision. So most of the properties that you'll be seeing in Eleko, the title they'll be selling with is excision. Although there are some parts of Eleko that also have a gazette, only some parts. Now, the biggest landmark for Eleko axis is the proposed 4th mainland bridge and the proposed airport. So if you are coming from Ajah, you are coming from Sangotedo, you've passed the Eleko junction, the next major town that you'll be getting to before getting to Ekpe is Eleko. So Eleko is basically before the proposed airport. Now, the 4th mainland bridge that will also be connecting Akodo-Ise with much part of the Lagos Island, the new Lagos, down to the airport, will also be passing through Eleko via the regional road. So for a lot of people that are having their properties around Eleko, they are positioning themselves for an easy access, an easy link that will be connecting people that are coming from Akodo to people that are also going to be working on the island, or that will be working around the new Lagos. So Eleko is also a very fantastic location for you to invest. Like I said, some part of Eleko have an excision, and just a small part, very, very small part of Eleko have gazettes. Now, for people that are familiar with Itunu, Hybrid Chestnuts, Legend City by Revolution Plus, and all these different properties that are around the Lamija axis, Lagoon Front Estate, Eleko is actually before all these estates. Itunu is in Akodo-Ise scheme, and Landmark are even going to be launching another property in Akodo-Ise scheme very soon. Eleko is before Akodo-Ise scheme. The Legend City by Evolution Plus, Eco City by Andron Homes, and different Hilton City, Hybrid Chestnuts, Dynamic Gardens, all that are at Ilamija. Eleko is also still before Ilamija. So any property that you have at Eleko, your property is before the Akodo-Ise scheme, or even the Lagoon Front Estate and MNSA Phase 3 and the likes. So Eleko is a fantastic location for anyone that also wants to invest in Ibeju Lekki. And funnily, Eleko is even more cheaper than most of all these locations that are even after it. Now, the third location and the third town in Ekpe that is good for people that want to invest is Akodo. Akodo is after Eleko for people that are coming from Ajah, coming from Sangotedo. And Akodo is basically before the free trade zone. The last community that you are going to get to before you get to the Lekki Free Trade Zone is Akodo. Now, for people that don't know the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Dangote Refinery is inside the Lekki Free Trade Zone. So when I'm talking about the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Dangote Refinery is still the same thing, but the Dangote Refinery is inside the free trade. So apart from the Dangote Refinery, we still have other factories, Kellogg's, Danomic, Indomie, Dana, and so on, that are still inside the free trade zone. So Akodo has, some part of Akodo has an excision, approved excision, and some part of Akodo have a gazette. Now, if I'm mentioning these titles, you have to verify it before you buy a property. Ask for their survey plan, your surveyor check it, or send your surveyor there to pick coordinates. The surveyor can tell you if that property falls within the excision, or if the property falls within the gazetted area, or falls outside the excised area, or outside the gazette. So some part of Akodo have gazette, some part of Akodo have excision. So Akodo is also a fantastic location if we want to invest around the deep sea port, the free trade zone, because a lot of people are going to be working in these places. The deep sea port should be in full 50 to 80% operational by next year, which means that the moment that place start accepting cargo and start discharging cargo, a lot of people will be working there. A lot of businesses that are people that are doing clearing and forwarding will be having their businesses there. a lot of car dealers will be there. So people will move into those locations. So you can position yourself in Akodo and have your property there, have your rental property there, just to serve people that are going to be working in the free trade zone or that will be working in the deep sea port. So Akodo is also a fantastic location for you to consider if you want to invest in Ibeju Lekki. Now the fourth town that I'll be talking about in this video is Osoroko. Now Osoroko is the first community after the free trade zone and after the refinery. So if I say after the refinery, there are still so many other factories and industries that is inside the free trade. So the free trade zone does not end after the refinery. You are still going to drive like around 10 minutes drive after the refinery before you are going to get to the end of the free trade zone. So Osoroko is the first residential community after the free trade zone. So there are a lot of estates, this property by Andron, Rehoboth Gardens, and so many Urban Crest1, Saturn Gate Commercial, Perfection Estates, so many these Roland Gardens. Also, a lot of companies have so many properties in Osoroko because the Osoroko community have a global CFO. So a lot of them are selling the land and the estate they have in that location with the global CFO of the Osoroko family. So Osoroko is fantastic for you to invest. Most of the land there have a very good title. Even some of the land there, the companies are developing it. Like for example, Perfection Estate Company, they are building houses. They are building houses in that place, majorly to serve people that are going to be working in the free trade zone and the seaport. Now, I always advise it. If you want to buy or invest in a particular estate, if the company are building houses in that estate, invest there. It's better. And I will tell you the reason. Because the more the company are building houses in that estate, the more it is guaranteed that they are going to do infrastructures in that estate. And the more it is also guaranteed that people that are buying land, they will also be interested to build because they are seeing that the company are building. But if you just buy a property in one estate that the estate company they are not showing any sign that they want to do anything there apart from the fence and the gatehouse that they do there, that property can be there for the next 3 years, looking exactly the way it is when you bought it. But when you buy a property in an estate where the company are already building, it's guaranteed that after 1 year, after 2 years, that property will not look the same, will not be valued the same. And even you yourself, it means that in a short time, maybe after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, you also can start to build there because the company have built, some other people have also started building. You yourself, you also be interested to build. So you can invest in Osoroko, even the P1 estates in Osoroko that are selling bungalows there, them too that are building houses. So a lot of companies in Osoroko are really not just selling land, they are building houses in this estate and they have CFO. Even some have even done a governor's consent on that CFO. Now the fifth town in Ibeju Lekki that I'll be talking about is Akodo-Ise, Folu-Ise, and Ise generally. These properties or this location are around the Lacampagne axis, Lacampagne Tropicana. For some investors that have toured Ibeju Lekki very well, they are familiar with this premium resort that is in Ibeju Lekki, which is called the Lacampagne Tropicana in Ibeju Lekki. Now, some of these locations around Akodo-Ise, Folu-Ise have an exhibition block. But anything in Akodo-Ise or Folu-Ise that is exhibition in view, or that is a freehold, or that is registered survey, just avoid it. Because all these locations, if the government have not excised or released that land, you have to apply for a government allocation. Even that for that location is even premium, because most of that location the government have plans to extend the free trade zone into those locations. And some of the community people are already familiar or aware of that. Akodo-Ise, Folu-Ise was trending like 2 years ago. You'll be seeing land there 750k, 700k, 950k, edition in view, buy 6 get 1 free. A lot of companies sold a lot of land around the axis around that 2 years ago, and a lot of investors bought 12 plots, 10 plots, 6 plots around that. That's why I keep saying it. Quality over quantity. It's better for you to buy, even if it's 1 plot with CFO that you can buy, that you can afford, buy it, instead of going to buy 6 plots that is execution in view, execution in process, and Akodo-Ise, Folu, because they are giving you 1 free, and you think that you have invested around the refinery. Akodo-Ise is far from the refinery, extremely far from the refinery. Like, I'm talking about like around 25 minutes from the refinery. Ode-Omi is even worse. Ode-Omi is much farther to the free trade zone. So all these locations are not really that close to the refinery to even what the trouble that you are putting yourself into, because you are going to have to pay for government allocation for this property. So some part of Akodo-Ise, Folu-Ise have execution block, but with this execution in view, avoid it. You get start survey, and they are not talking about execution or gazette, avoid it also. So this is what you should understand about these different towns and landmarks in Ekpe. So we have properties that are like towns that are close to the Lacampagne Tropicana, Akodo-Ise, Folu-Ise, Otolu, Igbo. All these places are closer to the Lacampagne Tropicana than any other landmark. Oshoroko, Oigon, all these ones that are close to the free trade zone, but are the next community after the free trade zone. Akodo, Museyo, Magbon Alade, all these communities are before the free trade zone, just after Eleko, before the free trade zone. Eleko, Idado, there is this one popular town too around Eleko also. Those that are facing the beach. It's also another thing, but me, I will not advise you buy any property facing the beach in Eleko. But most of those property, the title is shaky. And a lot of you guys have invested in Eleko because of the beach view or the water view. Okay, it's alright. Just start dusting your paper and start perfecting. Now, apart from the fact that the Eleko axis is a T-junction connecting the Ajah-Sangotedo axis to Ibeju Lekki, there is even another road that is coming to Eleko, which is the coastal road, which is the road that will be going from Eleko down to VI. And as we speak today, we all don't have an idea how the government plan to take that road, but we know that the coastal road is coming because it's a proposed road, and that road has been in Lagos master plan since the 90s. So most of the properties, so even some of the properties that are selling right now in Eleko with execution something, some of this land falls within this coastal road, inside this coastal road. So that's why most times, most of the execution road, execution land in Eleko, I just leave it basically. If it's not governor's consent in Eleko, I'm not doing. I'm not advertising, I'm not selling, because I'm really wary of that coastal road that is coming to Eleko and the presence of a lot of government plan around that particular axis. So, and that's why I always advise, particularly for Ibeju Lekki, title is very important. Ekpe is still relatively slightly safer, but Ibeju Lekki, every inch of that particular place has a master plan. So that's why title in Ibeju Lekki is very important. You must investigate as much as you can that title before you invest. So that's why the CFO, the governor's consent land in Ibeju Lekki are much better, regardless of the price. They are much better than just trying to get something on execution or execution in view. The execution too is good, fantastic, because there are so many places in around Ibeju Lekki right now, Lakwe, Aoyaya, Oribanwa, Eluju, that people have been building, people are residing, and the execution that those places they have. But the closer a community is to a government scheme or to a free trade zone or a particular government landmark or proposed infrastructure, and the title is execution, that execution is at risk, because the government may have planned to extend that government scheme or extend or expand that particular proposed infrastructure to affect some of the community that are on execution. So that's why for a while now the Lagos government are not even granting gazette on any execution. They're just leaving all the execution like that pending. Alright, so those are the different towns in Ibeju Lekki, Eleko, Akodo, Ode-Omi, and the different landmarks around each of these towns in Lekki. So in Ibeju Lekki rather. So if there is any property in Ibeju Lekki that you have invested in, that you have bought 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or you are about to buy, and you want me to advise you about the landmarks in that location and what you can do with that property based on the landmarks around that particular property, then you can reach me. Just drop a comment here. I always attend to all comments, and you can also reach us directly on WhatsApp. I'm also going to try as much as I can to guide you and advise you on what you want to buy, and also the different options that we have in our portfolio. So as the number one property on the planet, your property advisor, property consultant, Rabi Mustafa, thanks to us again for watching our video. Thanks to us again for your time, for the likes, the subscribe, the shares. We appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate you guys so much. All of you guys, we appreciate you guys so much, and see you next time.